Let's jump over to the first story. Trump threatens to deploy National Guard to quell Portland protests. From the Military Times, they say, President Donald Trump on Thursday threatened to deploy the National Guard to Portland, Oregon, if protests there don't stop in the next few days, saying the violence has lasted for too long. So let me just, I got to do this correction, Don't put protest if you're complaining about violence. So he wants the riots to stop. But then he said protesters, so...
Well, that's not a quote from him.
Right. Well, here's a quote from Trump. These protesters, many should be arrested because these are professional agitators. These are professional anarchists, Trump said during a White House press conference. These are people that hate our country. We are telling them right now that we are coming in very soon. The National Guard, a lot of very tough people. These are not people that just have to guard the courthouse and save it. These are people who are allowed to go forward and do what they have to do. At the peak, more than 40,000 guardsmen were activated across the country to help deal with the protests sparked by the death of George Floyd. The use of Guard troops to help with violence on American soil is not unusual, but is typically done under the direction or with permission from state and local officials. In the case of Portland, where protests have taken place every night since May, the governor and mayor have objected to the intervention of federal law enforcement to address the issue. They don't know what they are doing, Trump said of local leaders. And he's right.
Yep.
They're trying to declare victory like the feds are going to leave.
We got them, guys.
The riots still happened. A much smaller crowd. So it may die down now, but I'm not entirely convinced. Anyway, They say the Oregon Military Department told Military Times that the Oregon National Guard has not been requested or notified of any request to respond to the situation in Portland at this time. And that's from Major Leslie Reed, the department's deputy director of public affairs. This could just be Trump talking big. It could be. But maybe he just hasn't drafted anything or told anybody yet. The National Guard Bureau deferred questions to the White House and Pentagon. Pentagon officials did not immediately respond to a request for comment. On Thursday, Trump praised the controversial presence of Homeland Security personnel in Portland, saying that the place was a mess and their deployment prevented hundreds of millions of dollars in damage to the federal courthouse. Trump said those officers, quote, are working today and probably tomorrow to clean out this beehive of terrorists in Portland. If they do it, I will be very happy, he said. Then slowly we can start to leave the city. If they don't do it, we will be sending in the National Guard. The president's announcement comes just 2 days after a congressional hearing where a District of Columbia Army National Guard major who was working on protest control during June 1st demonstrations outside the White House testified that federal agents were overly aggressive in clearing out peaceful protesters. Major Adam DeMarco said the guardsmen on duty that day were left confused and disheartened by the actions, with some members questioning whether they had violated the constitutional rights of free speech and assembly. Trump has voiced no such concerns, saying the protests were inspired by nonviolent ideals, but have since become little more than an excuse for destruction and mayhem.
Boom.
Yes, they set a church on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Barr dropped a hammer.
It's not just one. They've sent multiple.
Well, it was it St. John's? Is that the church?
I think so, yeah.
It's like the famous
presidential church,
Yeah.
basically.
They said that. Could you look up this guy, Major Adam DeMarco, real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I saw some news about him that provides context as to why he's complaining, but I want to make sure we get it right. He might have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah,
hold
on, let me find this.
See if you can find it.
I mean, Trump nails it right there. He says it, and it's true. It was inspired by nonviolent ideals, but those ideals have been lost with the violence that have happened. It's now an excuse to just, rock over statues and burn down buildings and small businesses. It's crazy.
So take a look at this tweet from Andy No. This is from the 30th at 12:28 p.m. Violent protests continued overnight outside the Portland federal courthouse. Rioters were more quickly repelled because they lacked the huge crowds that gave them better cover to commit acts of violence. And we can see in this video, there's actually far less people than normal.
Wow, yeah,
a lot of
significantly
shields.
less.
And why is that? Where'd everybody go?
They went home.
They went home, huh?
They won. They beat the feds.
So the feds are still there.
Yeah.
The courthouse is still walled off with fences. We can see that. The feds have straight up said they won't leave. In fact, Trump is saying we'll send the National Guard in. Why did they all disappear? The big question, like I mentioned earlier, will be if these protesters come out tonight, having seen the tear gas and the attack on these Antifa people.
From state police, not the feds.
Exactly. So here's what I think. Well, actually, I tweeted it. Here's what I said. Now that the people of Portland would have to protest their own Democratic governor, it seems they didn't show up to reinforce Antifa and far leftists. When it was Trump's police, thousands were outraged. Now that it's a Democrat, they don't care. What happened to all that talk about the Gestapo and Trump's secret police?
Yep. They're not talking about that in New York.
We got to be fair. These are, what's the governor's name? Kate Brown?
Yeah.
Kate Brown, secret police being deployed to the streets to attack peaceful protesters. Why, Adam, why are these Democrats, in your expert opinion, why are the Democrats sending out unidentified secret police to brutalize these peaceful demonstrators?
Well, Tim, in my expert opinion, I have no idea.
Is it because Kate Brown is a fascist?
Yes. Let's go with that.
Okay. Confirmed.
Yeah, confirmed by my expert opinion. My opinion, rather. It's expert.
Did you find him?
I did find him. I haven't found anything interesting about him. And he doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
He doesn't?
Yeah, which is really weird, right?
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. He's just a National Guardsman.
Yeah, he's a whistleblower, I guess. That's what they're calling
interesting.
him. Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I heard some people talking about... So apparently some guy came out complaining about Trump in bar, clearing out the protests in front of the White House.
Oh, yeah. That's
and
right.
I just wanted to check to see if there was anything... You didn't find anything?
So Louis Gohmert questions his loyalty to the Democratic Party.
No, he questioned his loyalty to the oath that he took to become the Attorney General.
Who?
One of the Democrats, and then the Republican guys in the testimony were like, are you going to let this slide?
No, you're talking about something else.
Oh, yeah,
This is
talking about
Louis Gohmert's a Republican.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the National Guardsmen criticizing Trump for clearing...
Yeah, I was talking about
okay.
Adam DeMarco. Yeah, so noting his unsuccessful run for Congress, Representative Louis Gohmert from Texas told DeMarco his testimony, quote, will serve you well with the Democratic Party, close quote. But he questioned his loyalty to the military for opposing his commander-in-chief's contention.
So wait, what you're saying is this DeMarco guy ran for public office as a Democrat?
Failed. Yeah.
He tried to become a Democratic congressman?
Yeah.
There it is.
And now he's contradicting
That's why
Trump.
before I said anything, I wanted to have the source pulled up.
Right.
Why would someone just come out and be like, these police clearing out these peaceful demonstrations? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
He's a Democrat.
Yep.
He ran for office as a Democrat. Look, man, I get it. There's a lot of criticism. They say Trump went out and did a photo op. I had an argument with some family members about it, and I'm like, it's such stupid. It's so dumb. Okay, you can't have months of violent riots and protests, and more importantly, if you ask a Trump supporter why they cleared out the area in Lafayette Square, they had announced they were clearing out at a certain time already.
Right.
And Bill Barr said it had nothing to do with Trump doing a photo op, taking a photo in front of the church. And I'll tell you straight up, you know why Donald Trump went out and took a photo holding a Bible in front of the church?
To show the American public that we got this under control.
Boom. Exactly.
Yeah.
We put the fire out, we saved the church, and we are still in control of things.
Period. Yeah, it's like, duh. I wasn't even that, I was entering my political, viewpoints at that moment of time. That was like, what, 2 months ago now? A month and a half?
I'm not saying it was the right thing to do morally. I'm just saying that's the reason. And it's funny because they always try to make it the worst of the worst, right?
Yeah.
Like the only reason Trump did it was for a re-election photo op. And I'm like, that makes no sense. I mean, if he wanted a photo of him holding a Bible in front of the church, he could have waited a day.
Yeah.
No, what he did want to show is that he's in control.
Because the church was just set on fire, and it's a historic church. So they took care of it.
What did Bill Barr say when he was asked? This was great. So
this was good.
So Attorney General Bill Barr is testifying, and you have this one. I guess I don't know what the guy's name who asked him, but he's like, "Are you aware that like the bishop and the priest or whatever, condemned your clearing of the protests?" And he goes, "Was that before or after we put the fire out?" Ooh, mic drop,
dude.
Yup.
Barr was dropping bombs on
I'll tell you who's
They were like, no. Reclaiming my time.
Don't let him speak.
Too many bombs.
I'll tell you who's being political. It's that priest, that bishop or whoever.
Yeah.
Coming out and attacking the president when they literally had to, the fire trucks couldn't get through. The far left wanted the church to burn down.
Definitely.
I can't take these memes, man.
They don't talk about that side of it. It's only the fact that Trump cleared them out. It's like, well, did you think about how they cleared them out so they could put the church out? The fire that was burning this historical church?
It's crazy information warfare,
Yeah, it is.
It's like trying to, if people don't hear it, they'll just assume whatever the worst is.
Or whatever they're told.
So here's what I see a lot in these memes. I've seen a ton of these memes. It's like, it said something like, if save the whales doesn't mean F the fish, then why do people get so triggered by Black Lives Matter? And I see this meme being shared by a bunch of progressives, and it says to me they don't know anything at all about Black Lives Matter. And so I politely respond and I just say, I think a lot of people are upset because their movement on their website calls for disrupting the nuclear family. Yeah. Like that's, liberal and conservative alike are going to be kind of offended by that. Some people won't care on both sides. But I think some people see that and they're like, I don't like that. And then they're like, what do you mean? That's not what Black Lives Matter mean. They get confused. Like, well, have you gone to the global movement's website?
And read their doc? Because it says that. Down with the patriarchy and down with the nuclear family. It's
patriarchy, what? Gender norms, Western family.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying morally right or wrong. I'm saying here's a thing that makes people kind of be like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And that's it. But when you get your news from memes, instead of actually asking the person why they're upset.
God, I hate meme news.
Yeah, that's all it is, man.
I can't stand them, man.
Yeah, well, that's how the left gets their news.
Yep,
it really is.
Right.
I mean, and I say the left, but it's the left is more likely to get their news from memes.
And we all know the left can't meme. This is a proven fact that they cannot. I learned it on the internet, so it's true.
Well, you know what's interesting is it's actually like an 80-20 thing where like 80% of the right has successful memes.
Okay.
But memes live or die. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
So
they're good or they're not.
Right. And the bad ones disappear and the good ones move up. The left, it's like 80% of their memes are trash. But they do every so often get something good out that works.
Sure.
It does. But this is why they need to control cultural institutions and media. And you know what? Conservatives are bad at countering it. It's a fact.
That's
how
true.
many,
because they're not on the internet. They're out there working.
I mean, they're on their phones more than ever.
Sure. Yeah.
Nowadays. It's playing a big, has a big role in this. But I think when you look at Twitter, when you look at YouTube, for instance, and Facebook, you'll notice that conservatives do ridiculously well on all of these platforms, which says something. The left is...
Ban them.
Well, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I know.
The left is comprised of people who are being fed the news and just mindlessly milling about. The right is people who are going on social media, sharing and engaging with the news.
Yeah.
So if you're on YouTube and you go to a video of some like left-wing issue, you're going to see it's thumbs down to oblivion. All the comments are angry. Like, this is garbage, this is trash. Then you go to like a moderate or conservative, and it's going to be more thumbs up. Now, it is true that a lot of progressive YouTubers get mostly thumbs up, but they do have a higher density, it seems, of thumbs down. For whatever reason, I don't know. But typically, you can predict what's going to happen. Gillette does a commercial where they're like, toxic masculinity must go. Yeah. And then it's just thumbs down into oblivion. Maybe it's because conservatives are more likely to share news, and liberals are more likely to just
share emotions,
watch TV, or share memes.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That could be it. I'm not entirely sure, but based on my conversations, man, it is. When I'm talking to people who are conservative, they tend to understand references I'm making when I'm like, so I'll be like this. So you heard about what's going on in California with repealing civil rights. Oh, yeah. That was on, Tucker was talking about that. I'll be like, yeah, that's serious, right? Yep. I'll talk to someone on the left and I'll say, so are you familiar with what's going on in California? No. Okay.
Well, what's happening in California?
They're repealing civil rights.
Right. That's what they'll say.
No, they're not.
Like, wait, what? No,
that's not true.
I don't believe you.
Yep.
No. Look it up online. No, that I know California. That's not them.
And I'm good. Send me a link about it. Every news story is like affirmative action, and not really telling you what they're doing.
Right.
It's really annoying trying to break through the noise. But to people who are plugged in and constantly searching and reading the news, they understand the deeper context. Try explaining Obamagate to your average lefty, and they're going to be like, "Oh, this is crazy. What are you talking about? That sounds nuts." Talk to a conservative, and they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, because I heard about that." Because
a lot more conservatives are a lot higher on the level of just hearing about it now.
Just hearing about it?
Yeah, they know about it. That's kind of what Q's all about.
What I mean is, like, if you've got the average right-leaning independent, they've probably heard something about Obamagate and something about spying and unmasking.
Well, you said it. I mean, they pay attention. They're more inclined to look for like actual news instead of memes. Be like, oh, this meme is news. I'll pass it along.
I'm going to say it again. NewsWhip Study. It tracked engagement and found the left was primarily engaging with Occupy Democrats. It is a meme page. They're not real. It's not real news.
Yep.
And the conservatives were engaging with Fox News. Fox News is biased, but it's news. They have standards. They have a corrections policy. They're NewsGuard certified. And then you have, I think the most shared now is Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro.
Okay.
But the left is still memes.
Memes.
Yeah. And so I see like pictures of like a Black Lives Matter fist, and it'll be like, answer me this, conservative bros. If this, then why not that? And I'm like, that's not news, and no one thinks that. They're all fake arguments.
Yeah.
You know, here's a really funny one. I keep seeing this tweet be shared on Facebook between all these progressives where they're like, answer me this, you know, Trump supporters. Where are all the 2A libertarians saying, you know, that they were going to stand up to government tyranny with rifles?
Yeah, that
now that tyranny is happening in Portland, and then I just sent him a picture of the Boogaloo Boys showing up in Portland, and I'm like, what are you talking about? They're right there.
Yeah.
They're literally right there. They're standing. They didn't bring their guns.
Yeah.
You know, but they did show up. And then I sent him more pictures of the Boogaloo Boys marching with Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, this meme is fake. Somebody just made it up. Stop sharing this.
Part of the problem is these people on the left, they have this image in their head of like this bad guy, the ultimate bad guy. And it's like the biggest Nazi, hates everything that they're about. And they just apply that as a blank like slate over everybody that isn't in their group. So if you vote for Trump, well, that's clearly you're this one person that I have in my head, this image of this bad guy that I have. So that's like all their memes, like, well, riddle me this bad guy that I have in my head, where in reality, most people aren't that person. Everyone's more in the middle looking at them like, you're crazy. No one's like that. That's not the norm. Why do you think that? Why is your argument always against that one person? Because that's not the norm.
It's really simple. This was noted, I think, on Sam Harris's podcast, and when I was talking with Jack Dorsey on Rogan. Conservative journalists will follow liberals and conservatives, and liberal journalists only follow liberals.
Yep, exactly.
Jack did say things were getting better and that was starting to change. I'm not sure where we're at now, but that's the easiest way to explain it. It's a one-way street. If you're on the right, you're looking at everyone to your left. If you're on the left, you're looking at everyone to your left.
Yep.
So they don't see what conservatives are talking about. They don't see the news, and they have no idea. It's crazy when I'll like tweet something out that'll somehow find its way into a left journalism bubble. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what are you talking about? This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. That's not true. And I'll be like, did you not know this happened? Like, I'm just like, you know, using a random news story as an example. I'll be like, what do you mean? Like, it's right here. Like Reuters reported it.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, because you're sitting in a toilet spinning around in circles with all your buddies and you're just like eating each other's refuse.
Yep.
It's like human centipede, man. The funny thing is, there's a meme going around. It's a sticker in New York City that someone posted.
Okay.
And it's the human centipede, but it's Trump and then a Fox News reporter and then a guy wearing a MAGA hat. Okay. What's funny about that is I get the idea they're trying to convey. It's not true, though. It's Fox News, then Trump supporter, not the way they had it.
Yeah.
And the other issue is that Trump is a symptom, not the cause of. So it's actually not even true that Trump is in the front of the line if they want to play this meme up. What was going on in this country was going on for a long time. What was going on with the culture war and social justice and PC was happening well before Trump. Trump came about and was voted in partly because of all of these things. He is a symptom of our current state of affairs in this country, not the creator of it. They don't understand that. They blame Trump for it. No. If everything was normal, if jobs were here, if people were happy, there wouldn't be a Donald Trump. He came in because he specifically said, look at these things. He talked about trade. And he made fun of, Rosie O'Donnell and other people.
Well, and he called out the establishment in a very specific way that I'm tending to lean on the fact that it's pretty true. I mean, a lot of the stuff that he was talking about, we're finding proof, and they're talking about it, and now subpoenas are being issued, and it's going to be a really interesting fall.
They've been selling us out to multinational corporations.
Yep.
Everybody knows it. It's like every activist has been talking about it. Everyone was complaining about it.
Yep.
So when you got Bernie Sanders and Trump very early on talking about the TPP, NAFTA, and immigration, you had left and right-wing populists being like, here we go.
Yep.
Bernie Sanders, however, said, let me toe the establishment line. Being a millionaire sounds fun. And Donald Trump was like, I'm already rich. I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want.
And give away a
salary,
my yearly salary.
But he gets
like a boss.
They spend way more money on Trump than his yearly salary. So he's giving away a salary. I get it.
Same with every president. Whatever. That's
true.
a non-issue.
Sure. But I'm just kind of like, to be honest, it's $400,000. Presidents get rich off their books and appearances. Their salary is whatever.
I'm not going to write that off. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's true. I agree. I'm not saying I'm not dragging him for it. It's a good thing he did it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, a lot of people want to act like it's the biggest thing ever. It's good. Trump is a billionaire, but I respect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sure. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.